been here long enough, you've heard me tell my story of going into recovery, thinking my struggle was with anger, but realizing it was really anxiety and control issues. And I've done a lot of work through Restore on Monday nights with counselors, my men's group. I have a very patient wife, patient children. And I've learned to work the steps whenever I feel myself going in the wrong direction. So you can imagine how someone with control issues might handle getting ready for his daughter's wedding. Not only control issues, but I'm raised by tightwads. And so early in the wedding planning, my wife had found this place in France. We'd given the kids a certain amount, and they decided they wanted to have the wedding in France, and they found a chateau. And all this sounds so foreign to me, and so I'm hearing, well, we need to put down a deposit to reserve it. Well, I have a few questions. If you want my money, I need some questions answered. And so I get on the phone, and Trevi, my daughter, is interpreting for me, and I asked the first question, and this is the phone, and I don't know French, but apparently whatever she said back, Trevi said the answer, and then said, Dad, I don't think we should do this right now. And I said, well, but the money is due, so let me just ask a couple more questions. So I asked my next question, and before Trevi could translate, the woman hung up. That was not what I expected. Now, at first, it would be easy to think, well, this is, a French person who doesn't really like us Americans, but, they don't understand customer service like we do. The customer's always right here and over there, apparently not. But I didn't have time to go into all that because my daughter's eyes filled with tears, and she said, Dad, you just ruined my wedding. That's not what I was going for. I just didn't want to put my $1,000 down without a few questions asked, right? And so the next day comes, and Adrienne, who is French, her now husband, calls and works everything out. Suddenly, it's back on at the chateau, but I am no longer involved in the planning. Even when we get to town, this woman gives a tour of all that we can see and do and be while we're there, except for me. I wasn't allowed on the tour. Now, in the end, I'm so glad I was no longer part of the planning. We'd given the kids a modest amount, and his dad gave him a modest amount, then they had some money, and in the end, they pulled off something so extraordinary, I could have never have imagined it. I mean, the word chateau means castle in French. Now, it's not quite a castle, but it was not a house either. Here's a picture of it. I mean, it was gorgeous. And here's a picture of the groomsmen there at the chateau, looking quite cool if you think. And then bridesmaids, here they are, same place at the chateau. And then here's the reception area. And then we have desserts. I didn't know what we were eating. My mom was asking me, what's the plan? I don't know, Mom. Just sit back and enjoy. Be relaxed like me, And there was flames coming out of the desserts. There's cake. And I mean, it was just unbelievable. And just for fun, in case you wonder what Ricky, our former youth pastor, looks like dancing, here's a picture. Or some of you will recognize these three, Colby and Noah and Caleb, who grew up here, just having the time of our lives. I mean, it truly was one of the most beautiful evenings. And if you can imagine, if I had been unwilling to surrender control, what a different experience it would have been. We would not have been in a chateau. Probably wouldn't have been in France. May have been in the student room. I don't know. But for me, this is a broken pattern in my life that comes from a broken desire to have to control things. It's an old, broken view of the world. So what's yours?